It is 6:30 on Monday, January 27th. We are live for the Columbia School District regular business board meeting, beginning at 6:30 p.m. this evening. Mr. Chairman, we are live.
We are going to convene for executive session from 6:30 to 7. The purpose is to review and evaluate performance of a public employee. So we'll see you back at 7.
All right.
Okay, we're back in, coming out of an executive session. No decisions were made. Moving on to the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, good news.
Excited. It is School Board Appreciation Month, so this is our time to celebrate your dedication, commitment to the district. Thank you. You've got a token of our appreciation, but in all seriousness, we do appreciate all that you guys do. This is, again, not a paid position, and you guys devote hours of your year to this, supporting our district, so we can't thank you enough. Often these are thankless positions, but on behalf of our district, we thank you for your time and dedication to our students. So thank you for all you do.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay. Board reorganization.
So I have here for you last year's position, the 2024 positions. It's this time of year we reorganize, looking to solicit our positions for the next calendar year. Just a reminder, each nomination second requires a roll call vote. Other than that, I'll let you guys decide whatever you want Thad to do because he's out. So, other than that, the floor is yours.
Okay. Let's open up for the chair. Entertain a motion.
I nominate Thad.
Serious?
He hasn't done it for a while. It's his turn.
I'll second that one then.
But if you feel differently, I would take your nomination.
I'm good with whatever. I really am.
You want to do it again?
I will do it. I serve at the pleasure of the board, so. Whatever that is. We've got a motion and a second. Discussion?
Maybe it's not fair to put it on him if he's not here.
Yeah, we usually stick that person with the legislative representative position.
Would it be appropriate to wait till we're all here, or do we really need to do it tonight?
We do not have to. We can move it if we would like to, when all five are here.
What do you guys want to do? Let's push it until we have full board.
I'm just happy to be one of those ones on the bottom.
Okay. We'll postpone.
Table this to now.
Okay. Board operating principle review. Mr. Hilberg, would you mind?
Decision-making, the identification, evaluation of alternatives, and awareness of short and long-term consequences, and appreciation for the needs of the group as well as individuals, and sensitivity towards collective action are essential to the decision-making process. Board and staff, in order to formulate, execute sound decisions, we agree to resolve problems at the lowest level possible, clearly communicate decisions, build into each decision a point of reevaluation, provide for input from all impacted by the decision, and use of a decision-making style appropriate to the situation. And just so anyone's wondering why we do these each month, each year as a board, when we come together as our annual retreat, we sign off on these each year. So what we do is we break it down into different sections throughout the year and review these. So we review the whole document over the duration of a year. So if you're ever wondering why you see these at the beginning of each meeting, that's the point. And the purpose is to remind us how we act and behave when things, when decisions come up. This is just our each meeting reminder. So.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hilberg. Any changes or additions?
No changes or additions to tonight's agenda. Will play out exactly as it is on your update.
Okay, moving on the consent agenda, we have 3 items. Motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second it.
Motion and a second, any discussion on the 3 items? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Hearing of visitors, anybody like to address the board today? Okay,
Ready?
seeing none.
Start. There you go. Just the arrow button. Passing it off to our wonderful student board reps.
First, high school. For sports, boys basketball is officially their Ewok East champs, so that's super exciting. They won against Mabton, and that kind of like sealed it. That was the last one for until playoffs for state, so that's super exciting. Girls are also tied for first in their league, which is also super exciting because Mabton kind of handed it to us last time, and then Saturday night we beat them, and that was super exciting. And then Haley Jameson and Aslan Pereira both got their 1,000 points that night also, so that was super exciting. I bet the girls were really excited. I was super excited for them, and I just stand there and like cheer for them. So, and then wrestling's going pretty well. They just had a 3-day overnight meet, so the people I talked to about that, they said it was fun, a good time. Cheer's been going fine. We've had some issues with some of the girls, but nothing we can't solve. But something exciting is we've been able to achieve a basket toss and extension, which are both things that we do in stunting, which our current cheer advisor has never been able to do that with her team until this year. So super excited about that. That's a lot of fun. And then we've already done senior night for all the sports. That was super cool, super fun time. For other things in the high school, Mr. Gale's guitar class got to perform at the FBLA annual Christmas holiday luncheon. I'm sure they had a lot of fun. I think guitar class is so cool. Like, if I didn't do yearbook, I'd do guitar class. Yearbook attended Holiday Hustle, which was in December before break, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it because Oscar and I weren't at that meeting. But it was initially for FFA students, but Miss Ani decided to send some of her yearbook kids because Miss Kirkendall didn't send anybody. And we actually won the whole thing, and we had to like come up with like a sales pitch for like this pretend business, and we picked like a farmer's market one, and I like made a little business card and a brochure, and the judges really liked us, and each of us won a $1,000 scholarship to CBC, which is super duper cool. We have to take like an agriculture class, but that's one class, so that's super exciting. And then last week was finals week. It's over now. Super stressful. Nobody likes finals, but it's over now, so it's fine.
Something that's not so positive are the new policies in our country, like the mass deportation and ICE worries. Mr. Hilberg has already gone over the policy with me, so I understand it, and I concur with everything he told me. But I just wanted to advocate for the students that are worried in the high school.
Moving on to middle school. Boys basketball, girls wrestling, all happening. I think girls basketball started also. I think they had a game today, actually. I'm not sure how that's going, but next month I'll tell you. They participated in the
We're
food
up
drive.
tonight so far.
We are?
Yeah, we're doing well.
That's exciting. Good for them. ASB hosted a social. They'll be selling winter grounds. My mom told me they're having a foosball tournament. That sounds pretty cool. I don't know what that's all about, but sounds pretty cool. Elementary school, first graders got to sing at the FBLA holiday luncheon. That sounds adorable. Love first graders. They're so cute. And that brings us to clips.
FBLA has 3 students doing national competitions at CBC this Friday. It's me, Kaylee, and Soraya. Soraya is doing personal finance, I'm doing accounting, and Kaylee's doing computer applications. So Me and Kaylee are also doing a business partnership, and we're doing a partnership with a commercial construction company. And so if we play good at CBC, we get to go to Bellevue, close to Seattle. And if we do good from there, we get to go to Anaheim in California. So the business partnership that me and Kaylee are doing, we get to go to state in Seattle for that already. So that's good. And then FBLE is also selling like their Valentine's grams in the elementary school and the high school. And Knowledgeable has a competition this Friday also. So they had a competition in December, and now they have another one Friday. And Honor Society had their code drive and the food drive, and I just wanted to mention that Honor Society was able to provide food for more than 20 families in December on time for Christmas, which is like amazing because that's very amazing to me. Honor Society, sorry, they use some of their fundraising to support this the food drive, and the blood drive and the plant sale are coming up in spring in April, and I just listed how successful the blood drive has been with the units of blood that have been donated from the past 19 blood drives that the Honor Society has hosted. Drama Club, they've worked on their play, and they've chosen the play they're going to be reenacting, and they're just practicing it right now and going through it. And Dungeons and Dragons has finished creating their characters. They meet about 2.5 hours every other week. They've chosen their storyline that they're following, and I don't know if I said that correctly, Mr. Murr Jones. He chose the story. He chooses the story every year, and they've finally chosen the story this year. Ms. Weatherby is very happy about that. FFA they've recently had their Christmas party. They've participated in an employment skills competition and are now preparing for their agriculture mechanics competition, which Ms. Kirkendall was explaining that to me, and it sounded very hard. I got to see some of the math and stuff they do, and it looks hard. But yeah.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. If you guys make it to Anaheim and you run short of chaperones, be sure to let me know. If you run short, okay? I'm just saying.
Hey, Oscar, you were saying something about a commercial construction?
Yeah.
You're participating in. Can you elaborate on that just a little more?
So me and Kaylee are doing a business partnership with a construction company that my dad works with.
Okay.
And so we're gonna teach fourth graders about the commercial construction industry and create a presentation. And we have to write a 16-page essay about what we learned, how we did it, what we taught the fourth graders, and basically just explain our whole process of everything we did. And it's like a state competition, so.
I wanted to add that Knowledgeable is going to state also. I don't know how many of them are going, but I think it's going to be in Yakima this year, but that's pretty exciting for them. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Questions, comments for student reps?
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate your detail and information. Thanks for being here. You guys got homework, you staying tonight?
I'll stay.
Okay, enrollment. All right, enrollments. Take us through our enrollment and budget slides.
All right. So enrollment for January, this includes CK, our transitional kindergarten, and we are at 744.60. Compared to budget, we're looking pretty good. We're for budget at 770. Budget status, the general fund for December, we are at 2.1 million. Estimating to end in August about 1.4. I do want to just point out that for the 2019 all the way to 2024, we had ESSER money during that time. As as of the end of August of 2024. We don't have it anymore. So I anticipate our balance to go back to where it was previous to before we had COVID and that's our.
Can I say something on that? You know, reading the paper in today's world and, you know, how other districts manage their ESSER funds, I'm really proud that Burbank did it differently. You guys did a great job. Kept us out of trouble, kept us out of that cliff that they talked about, so kudos.
Capital projects, we are at 268,000 as of the end of December. Debt service fund, we're at 260,000 as of the end of December. ASB, we're at 158,000. And transportation vehicle fund, we are at 187,000 as of December. AP this month, we just purchased another bus, it's about 140,000-ish. So in the next month, you'll see that amount go down.
It's on site and we're using it now.
Very happy.
It's here.
Nice.
We've been using it for about 2 weeks now. The shiny one. It's a front engine bus if you're ever looking for one of those sorts of stuff.
Any more questions?
The only other thing is after you said that, I should have said something more, just thank you, but, you know, when you talk about the budget piece on it, obviously, what I should have responded with is a lot of conversation went into that, a lot of teamwork went into that. And, you know, a lot of planning around that to ensure that we don't end up with a cliff and end up in the place where a lot of folks are right now. I mean, we had to be real strategic about that and just, you know, but a lot of time went into that, so it was a team effort. So, Amber's gonna pass this down to Ms. Robillard. I'm excited to introduce to you Jillian Robillard tonight. It is the first of our administrative reports you're gonna hear this year. She-
bribery. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, man.
Did you have to say here? Awesome, thank you.
I was just gonna set you up, saying that she does have another appointment after this, so she's gonna do that.
It will go bad before somebody else works with it.
Okay. So I've asked her to come tonight just to share a few thoughts, what's going on at the elementary school. If you have any questions, holler away, but Jillian, take it away.
Thank you, and this is just a little something from our kiddos to say thank you. Little fingerprints here for you guys. And we'll get this to our other one. Okay, and then this packet right here is just a little bit of data so you guys can have it as we take a peek at it. That one. Anybody in the audience, would you like some data? No, no, like I already see
In
it.
case you're wondering what she's up to.
So we are gonna take a peek at some iReady data. So we were really lucky, we just got done from our fall to our winter data. So we're just gonna take a peek at some of the growth that we did. One of the things that we really like to pay attention to and focus on is the growth. So we know where we came in at, but really we wanna know is, are we growing? Is what we're doing working? Right, whether they came in 1 year below, 2 years below, or 3 years below, that was our biggest thing that we wanted to take a peek at. So looking at this right now, this is our reading growth from when we took our assessment in the fall as a whole building to where we are right now. So as you can see, we did make some great growth. This is, again, full building picture. So this is 319 out of the 356 kiddos that we had. We had some that weren't finished when I pulled this data last week. But we had a whole bunch of, as you guys can see, 7% to 14% of our kids are above grade level. We had from 13 to 21% move up to to on grade level, 48%. We went, changed a little bit to 44%, that was one grade level, but we kind of made the shift up. 24% to 14%, that moved up, and 8% to 7%. So we are really seeing all of our kids just really starting to grow. So 61% of our students have already progressed towards their growth, right? So I-Ready says that we want to have this much growth in an entire year. We've already had that many kids on their way to making that growth, which is fantastic. This is what we want to see. So no matter where they came in from, we want to see them growing that 1 year plus.
You're seeing where she's got the numbers. They're down below it, right, from that.
Yeah,
We're
sorry.
just used to
sorry.
reading these, so I'm used to that. I just want to make sure you're following that.
So connected to that, so in your guys' packet that I have this piece so you guys can kind of see it yourselves with the diagnostic growth. And then what I did also is I gave you guys a printout of the diagnostic result by grade level. So it just breaks it out so you can see a grade level by grade level, just to kind of see where we're making that growth at. Across the board. We also went through today and met with our kinder and first grade team to really make sure that we're making some more individual progress with that letter sound inventory, really getting ready for that pre-reading and reading, and our kids are rocking it. I mean, they're just moving right along. These teachers are doing amazing things, so we are very excited about that part. Any questions on reading? And if we look at our math, we did the same thing. We're also just really moving right along on there. The data just shows that we are increasing our growth. At this point in time, we really always want to see that we're moving towards, again, we want to see more kids on grade level. So we do have a pretty good chunk. They're about one grade level below. So this is kind of what we'll talk about where our intervention's really kind of coming into play. But we want to see that red chunk, you know, down there shrinking more and more each time that we're taking these tests. So, but they really are kind of moving. And then again, you guys will have that in your packet. The diagnostic piece afterwards that's broken down by grade level. It just kind of gives you a chance to kind of see what that looks like by grade. But again, this is all that piece on growth. And then what I did is I also pulled historical data. So there's not a lot, obviously, because we just kind of started already, but I wanted to see apples to apples on where the building was last year in comparison to this year. So this is last year's historical growth data. And when you look at this year's winter growth data compared to last year's, it's pretty similar. I mean, it was almost identical when I kind of pulled it out just to kind of see. So that's good because the building last year ended pretty well on the growth cycle as we looked at all of the kids. I remember sitting here with Ian at the very end when I first came, and the growth that the building had made last year was pretty good. So we are definitely on track right now to make that growth again. So that's a really good thing. And then there's the reading growth again. That's the historical piece in comparison. But that was definitely something I was really wondering about since this is, you know, only the second year in, but, you know, we are definitely kind of going. Any questions about the specific data at all? Okay. So the next is what are we doing with the data, right? So data's only as good as whatever you want to do with it next. So really focusing on reading this year within the building as I've kind of come in, we've looked at some different things. We are having scheduled blocks of time where every grade level is doing intervention at the same time. That's a really important thing for those teams to work together, making sure kids can go to lab and everybody's doing their grade level interventions at the same time in both math and reading. So we really made sure that that was in the schedule and gave the teachers that opportunity for that piece. At that point in time, they're doing their MyPath on I-Ready, they're going to lab, they're doing whatever they need to at that specific level. The teachers are really intervening on that piece. Again, we're trying to move the reds to yellows, yellows to greens. That's kind of our goal across the board. The other thing that we did is we created a building leadership task force that represents one person from each grade level, one of our lab teachers, one of our special education teachers, and myself. And we meet once a month, and we really started digging into our data to see where our holes were. We really wanted to know what we really needed to focus on kind of moving forward to really make sure that we're going in the right direction. And we really kind of noticed that as a building, we were having a lack in phonics. Phonics was definitely a struggle and a hole we had K-5 across the board. So ideally, we were trying to figure out what we can do. And as a team, they kind of picked program Haggerty, which is something that our kinder through second grade classrooms already do. And we're gonna increase that all the way until 5th grade. So that's, again, really focusing on that phonics piece as we start going forward. Right, how do we fill that hole that already exists as this team kind of got together? We also were very, very lucky that through our LAP funds, we were able to have some teachers do what is called letters training that focuses on phoneme awareness and phonics. This is the creme de la creme of the training for teachers to be able to do this. It's highly sought after, and we were very lucky to be able to do it. So we have 9 staff members, 2 special education or gen ed teachers, 2 special educators, and a lab teacher who just embarked on this training. And 2 of them are sitting here in the audience, and they know what they took on, and it's a lot, but it really gives them the opportunity to focus on getting our kids ready for reading, so we can kind of fill those holes before they exist. Any questions? And then kind of looking at our MTSS data, this is just a quick snapshot of where we are right now. So as you're seeing, we are trending down in the number of referrals. That also is a little bit of a correlation to we have had less school days, right, obviously. But, we are really continuing to hone in on the number of referrals and then what those referrals are, right? Really trying to track exactly what's happening in our building and making sure that we're intervening at that level, and they're doing a great job. We're really getting some good data on that piece. This is just a quick referrals by grade. We just kind of laugh because it's low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. So we just joke it's every other year, right? Every other grade is kind of our struggle, and that is what we feel within the building for sure. So it gives us a prep time. We just know that the next year, we've got to kind of intervene as we start going on. But MTS in our building is doing great. We are really making some good strides. They did a quick dip of how many of our kids knew, be safe, respectful, responsible. And we had a really high number of kids who could recite it. They knew what that meant. They could really talk about that. So it was really exciting to know that the messaging is getting across and some of it is sinking in, right? So we're a little bit of both, and that's kind of where we are. I mean, we are just kind of mid-year, and we are working our little butts off over at the elementary level, but, we're all kind of making some good strides, and nobody's quit on me yet, so I figure that's a good sign.
The things you're hearing from her previously, when we're talking about my goals and the stuff that we're doing, this is all that tier 1 level stuff. All kids, are getting this stuff. So when we're talking about the work that's being done, this is the examples of the stuff that you're seeing there that's playing out individually at her building level. So, anything else you want to add?
No. Any questions?
Questions?
I have a most unique question.
You have a what?
A most unique question.
Well, unique question. Okay, I'll try to see if I can give you a unique answer.
We only hire a new administrator at our buildings about every 15 years. This is fairly rare opportunity.
I've heard that.
And what I'm really curious to ask you is that you've been somewhere else and now you're here.
Uh-huh.
What are we doing different that's good? And what are we doing that is maybe
Not.
not so good in your experience other places?
I think the things that's going really well here is there's such a strong community. I mean, that is such a huge piece that really, it sinks into everything that we do, right? We were just talking to a kid, I was just talking to Kevin back there about a specific kiddo, and all 3 buildings are talking about this family. We, as a community, are already trying to figure out how to wrap behind them and really, really support this kid, this family, this situation, right? And we're not just talking about, a data point. I mean, we're talking about a kid and really what's happening, and that is a huge part of that community. And so we can wrap around and support that, which is bigger than we would ever want to know. So that's something that I would say is one of the coolest things. things to improve, as always, is just kind of what we're working on, you know. I think there's some things that are out there that just haven't been brought to the table, probably because nobody's been out of since for 15 years. So like the letters training, things like that, that we can just kind of start sprinkling in a couple of new things that are going out and about, and you know, bring everybody up to the next level.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a good question.
Tricky one. Well, thank you.
You're
Appreciate you
welcome.
coming in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I am gonna sneak off because I do have a sweet little thing over there, so.
Please do.
Okay.
Has to be up early.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Can't go anywhere without my keyboard.
Thank you for the cookie, too.
You are so welcome, thank you guys.
Appreciate that.
I'll make sure Thad gets that one.
Yeah.
Sure you will. We know
Half
how
of
you
it.
are with cookies.
Was gonna
As
give
soon
him
as
the
I
cookie.
counted, I was like, oh, he's gonna do this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, moving on. Reports, we ready?
Yes, please.
So I am excited to announce the 2025 Crystal Apple Award recipient. Chelsea Taylor has been nominated, and so she will go to the ESD later this year, where we will celebrate her. Reminder, that gets pushed on to the Washington State Teacher of the Year as each of those for nominations. So just want to let you know, we continue with this process each year, and Chelsea was our applicant this year.
Awesome.
Well deserved. So, she was in front of you, what, just a month or two ago, talking about her new bike program? Yep. Okay, professional development report. So you're kind of hearing some common themes and things we're talking about. This is me backing up saying that at our last training on January 17th, we continued with our professional development activities concerning the MTSS, PBIS, which are the things that you've heard both from me in executive session and now Mrs. Robillard talked to you a little bit about. We did our morning session. Dr. Lisa Hoyt was here. She is the consultant that I said we've been using for the last several years, supporting us. She was here in the morning doing conflict cycle training in the morning. In the afternoon, our building teams met, and some of our teachers attended an iReady training just to kind of continue to go over the work that we're continuing to do with iReady. So just want to keep you up to date. You're kind of seeing some themes, and we continue to go down those same avenues and consistent in what we're working through. Any questions? Choice transfer report. So I want to just give you some information. I like to bring this back to you yearly just to give you an idea of the why. So I don't need to read this for you. You're more than capable of reading this, but this is my purpose, really statement as to why we want to look at this and why this is important. We look at this every once in a while. So the choice transfer report this year, this was initially started with me 7 years ago when I started. One of the, I'll call it rumors.
Concerns.
One of the things I heard coming into this position was that we were losing so many kids, and that we had all these kids leaving. And we had kids just fleeing the district, and you know that it was at an alarming rate when I came in here 7 years ago. And I wanted just to put facts and numbers to it to say let's look at the actual numbers and data, which is why I like to bring this back to you each year and talk about it. So as you look at just the last 2 years, and again, the numbers have replicated this over years. I'm just running out of space with these. But our yearly choice in and choice out, I've got these down to every student, every parent when we have these pieces. But our choice in numbers for this year, you can see are very proud of that. We have 95 students opting from outside this district to come into this district. And we've got 41 students opting to choice out for any number of different reasons. And these are district numbers. This is not high school numbers, middle school, elementary. This is across our TK through 12th grade. Those are our numbers. So the top left student choice numbers, keep in mind that's a district number. We still have twice as many kids wanting to come into this district than we have opting out for other opportunities and options. So again, I always like to just bring that back to kind of debunk that. And I haven't heard it as much, so that's good. Maybe the data is out there and the information is out there, but I always want to bring us back to the actual numbers. Home-based instruction, you can see down below how that trend continues to go. We're at, we saw that spike, not so much here, but you can see 29. You had your COVID years with students going there. And we even saw, last year, 31. Our numbers kind of buck the trend. Most schools are, seeing that come down. We're seeing that still come down slightly. But we didn't have that mass exodus that we did at other districts that had that are seeing that. So we had a slight down, but most of the districts I talked to, that number was quite a bit higher. And theirs was more dramatic coming back because they had so many fleeing in the first place out of that. And we just didn't quite have that spike. But you can see the number of families. Any questions on choice or home-based instruction?
So going back 7 years, are the numbers similar proportionally? For the choice in, choice out?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's why, if I didn't say that earlier, I was just saying they're fairly similar throughout that, which is why I didn't go back on that one. So, yep. And then running start, just so you can see, because that's always a thought. Those are questions we always were asking us, because when you're really talking about the choice out, when I say I meet with parents that are choosing, and keep in mind, I don't meet with every parent, but I meet with every parent that is here, that is leaving, right? We could have, and I bring this up, for instance, a family, I'm just gonna make it up, has been going somewhere else. They've always been there, but they move into here, but they just want to keep them where they were before. I'm not meeting with that family, right? And, they were already somewhere. They already had those pieces. I'm not. But any of those that are choicing out, like, hey, I'm in the middle of a career here and I'm leaving to go somewhere else, I'm meeting with those folks, and I've got the reasons for all of those. I keep track of those. That's how I keep my feet close to the ground, saying what's going on. Are we developing trends on those pieces? Nakia is very good at that for me. She's my front line of defense. When those parents call, the first thing he says is, you need to set up appointment before we process that paperwork with Mr. Hilbert. So she's very good about that. Running start, you can see, let's go back to this, why I brought that up, because the choice out in the secondary levels, you do get a little bit of a trend, because there are places, again, for the same reason people choice in here is the same reason some parents choice out, right? People are choicing in, they like the small rural community, they like the smaller class sizes, they like we're not as large as some other places. It's the same reason some parents choice out. You don't have this program, you don't have this class, you don't have those things. So we do lose some of those, obviously, to Running Start. We lose some of those to some other programs, but just to see where our Running Start numbers are, they are conversations we're having with Kyle. We know we've got kids going to Running Start more frequently. Running Start has become, I don't want to say easier to get into, but it has over the years. CBC will flat tell you, they're marketing to high school kids to where a decade ago they really didn't market that. That wasn't their bread and butter. But the Running Start students are keeping our local community colleges across our state afloat. They have numbers, so they'll tell you. They'll tell you they're actively engaging, doing that. So.
Have they lowered the criteria a little bit to get in? Because it seems like a dozen years.
From many years ago, yes, they've opened that floodgate up, but that happened several years ago. That's not anything just in the last year or two.
I've recently applied for Running Start, and it was one of the easiest things I've ever done in my life, so.
It's not,
The test is like basic questions on like what's the highest education you've taken, and it's not really a test.
It's just kind of your basic information, and then they say, okay, you've applied.
One of our oldest son applied, and he only qualified to go there in reading English. He did not qualify in math or in science, either one.
it's a different time, they market it differently. And I don't say this to say we don't encourage this, right? Obviously it's a loss in FTE and money in that. But for some students, it's a great opportunity. So I don't want it all to be like I'm talking down about this or that we should discourage kids, because that's not where I'm at. For some kids, this is a really great opportunity experience for them.
It's nice to have options.
Yes. But, as we look at that, obviously, we want to do the best that we can to provide all our students the options that if they want to stay here, that we can provide that for them. So we keep track of those things and watch these trends because it's just something we need to do to be responsible about it. So I don't want you or anyone here to hear me think like, hey, this is, we're trying to work, I want to keep as many kids here as we can that have the programs and everything that we need for that, right? So, but just, again, it's something we do need to look at. We need to keep a watch of that. TriTech, again, you've got, our numbers are up a little bit this year. My oldest himself is taking TriTech courses. He's one of those students. Again, they have opportunities that we just can't provide, and that's, and we're fortunate to have that opportunity for those students. So, but any questions on the numbers?
Thank you for tracking the choice in and choice out. I know it's not easy.
So, I appreciate it. So, okay, moving on. All right. Oh, sorry, I wanted to throw this out there. I forget. I don't animate things too often, but just so you know on that one, just so you look at that in terms of total head count, that 30 that goes in there, just so you know, put a number to it. That is 12% of our high school and 24% of the 11th and 12th grade class. And then for our TriTechs, that's also 6% of our high school and 12% of those groups. Keep in mind, not all these kids are there full-time. Some are, here and there on both of that, but just so you look at the numbers. Okay?
Do we have requirements on what kids can participate in these programs? Or can anybody do it regardless of GPA, disciplinary, anything?
Each of those programs have their own, so CBC and TriTech have their own criteria for that. So we don't set that criteria, they do. Primarily, just so you know on our end, Running Start, I want to say, they're encouraging applications on that, so I couldn't tell you how many actually, because I don't involve myself in whether they get accepted or denied. That's between them and their families and stuff like that. So I can't give you a good number on Running Start. I can tell you TriTech, almost any kid that puts in for TriTech gets that. And that has to do with our agreement with TriTech. We were one of the original founding groups, going back to Bruce Plus, that started that in, and they have so many, we're allowed so many slots per year, for instance. And we don't even use up our slots. We could send more kids to TriTech. So all our kids, a bonus for us is if you want TriTech, you can get TriTech. Schools in town, it's a lottery system, and they're literally on there, and I'm not kidding. It's like if you try to get into places where something opens at 6 a.m. and you try to get it on there, and they're refreshing and trying to get stuff in. It literally is that competitive in town for that, and we're fortunate that we don't have to deal with that.
Can we sell some of our open spots to the town schools?
Well, I've encouraged that you can get into TriTech if you're in Burbank, right? So if you want to come on out and choice in out here and get there for a few classes, that is a guaranteed way to get into TriTech.
Program by program, right, though?
Yes.
So if like, there's 5 kids that want in a specific program.
Yeah.
You don't have that many seats.
Correct, Kevin saying.
A couple seats per.
But we have not, I can't tell any kid that's really been turned away from TriTech. I mean, even we support, there's part of some money that we pay to offset some specialized support in TriTech. So if we have students with some specific needs, some of our money that goes to them that we pay in, part of our yearly piece goes to help support those students, so.
When I applied for Running Start, it did ask for my GPA, but I don't know how much they take into account for that. It did not ask about any major disciplinary infractions or anything. Not to say they wouldn't ask the school, because you tell them where you go to school, but that's just was my experience.
Okay. Policy first reading. Brad, if you don't mind, I'll just keep walking through this. So we have 3, again, reminder, this is a first reading. We'll come back at a second reading for these. As I promised to begin doing, I'd mark essential and those that are non-essential. I bring you 3 of them today, 2 that are essential that I absolutely believe we need to and should based on the reasons you can see. First one is just removing outdated language that needs to be updated. Second one is required We've talked many times about handbook languages and changes and stuff that were made at the state level. Policy 2 on that just updates that to what was required by those moves that were made for those pieces. So that's your second one for non-discrimination. The third one I want to bring to you, which is the non-discrimination affirmative action, that is not required, but I am bringing it to you because I do believe it is best for us to do that. I know just the sound of that sounds controversial and some of that, but I just want to bring it right to your attention that the policy and the procedure that follows that, it is in our best interest to move forward on that one because the procedure itself removes language that is no longer required, that used to be required. And in our policy, you don't have the procedure in front of you. I give you policy. I deal with procedure, you deal with policy. But the accompanying procedure piece has pieces that are in there that would require us to do stuff, and it's no longer required. And I want to get that out of there and cleaned up. It would be less work for us by cleaning that up. So I just want to bring that to your attention. We're not voting or anything, but if there are any questions about that, we'll come back to it a month from now. Questions? Not hearing any. We have a board calendar review. Any suggested items, please bring my way. In February, we will have another board meeting just to pay the bills and do a regular business meeting. In February or in March, I'll be looking to bring our port commissioner down. He's mentioned that he would set up some time to come talk to you. If you have any questions, start thinking about that for business going on out at the Port of Walla Walla. Also reminders, we look forward into the future. We're looking tentatively March or April. Possibly, we have not done it in a while, but to set up a second meeting in a month, that would be the workshop. At that point, we don't typically, typically we skip that in between one. But we're looking at bringing Corey Plager from DA Davidson out, and it will be a single agenda item meeting just to begin discussing taxes, things like that, because a year out from this year, our EPO levy and some of those things will be back up for renewal. So we're looking at getting DA Davidson back out to begin some of our conversations on EPO levy and our capital levy. And then as a board, obviously, we need to make decisions on how we want to structure that, what we want those to look like, and do we want to ask for anything beyond that? Or are we just content sitting put with where we're at with those? I brought some things to you, trying to keep you up to date on where we're at with facilities and projects and things. So a lot of things to discuss and talk about, and we'll bring that up. It's enough to have its own meeting and conversation. We don't try and have a super long meeting, so.
When do you want to have that?
I gotta get that with Corey, but it'll be probably March or April. And then we'll talk about it and set that up next month, Michael, so we can actually calendar it out. Just wanna look ahead. That's all I have for tonight.
Have you had any traction on the, impact fees? I know you were consulting with a lawyer.
Yes.
You were gonna reread.
So your question is, have we had any traction? Nothing new. I'm finishing up the water piece. If you remember, I'm gonna go back to that. That will be, I'll have the signatures I need to bring that to the water board, next week, because it's in the fire department's hands. I can explain it to you in an email. So I don't carry on too long about that, but we need signatures from the fire department because they use some of our water for that application process. Once I have that done, I shift and I'm gonna move over to Impact and work with Denise Stiffarm to begin the mitigation fees on that.
I just worry we're gonna miss the boat. I don't know if there's a timeline. I don't know if that's my fear.
Yep.
So just passing that on.
Understand. Keep in touch with our fire commissioner. The conversations still going on, or at this point, are still have to do with water and all still planning and design. I know once it starts, it'll get going, but it's been really quiet. But I don't want to miss the boat on that either. So we will work on getting moving on that sooner than later.
Awesome.
Michael?
What's the building that round of work going over across Maple?
We have a plumbing place that will be coming in. Plumbing company.
Anything further for the good of the district? Any comments?
Thanks for being here.
We're adjourned. Thank you.